there, it's Kevin with GatheringMagic.com here with this week's episode of the Rogues Alley. For this week, I'm going to continue down my top 10 list of cards I want to brew around with the Hour of Devastation, and this one will be Hour of Promise. Hour of Promise is a great ramp spell at 5 mana, which you can search your library for any 2 lands and put them on the battlefield tapped. If they happen to be deserts and you control 1 more desert, you create 2 black zombie creature tokens. Now, I decided that we'd at least try that ability out, the last little clause there, so I'm going to be running some deserts that can actually trigger that. But what we really want Hour of Promise for is to grab Shrine of the Forsaken Gods, because this allows for a fast Ulamog or Kozilek, and allows us just to go kind of crazy with our mana at that point. So with this deck, I decided to kind of go a mid-range / late game, just to have game against everything. Right now, what is popular in the format, Marta Vehicles is still popular. White Blue Monument is very, very popular. Torrential Gearhook decks and Prized Amalgam decks, Elder Deep Fiend decks. There's a mill deck going around and a mono red, a couple different versions of like mono red aggro and mono red mid range with the Reality Smashers and Thought-Knot Seers. So I wanted a deck that I think has game against the variety of the meta at the moment. I mean, it's just wide open right now. So we are going to run just a lot of value creatures, going back to the old school ramp strategy, green ramp strategy back when pre-Kaladesh, which used to run Nissa's Renewal and Hedron Archive to ramp out the Ulamog, the Ceaseless Hunger. Still a good card, still an incredibly powerful card. What I like about it is it's got game versus the Torrential Gearhook decks. So basically against Torrential Gearhook, if they allow you just to hit your land drops, eventually we can just hard cast the Ulamog, and they're going to have to be dealing with our threats regardless. Otherwise, we can beat them down. So at our 2-drop slot, we are going to be running Sylvan Advocate. Sylvan Advocate is really good because we do have the alternate win condition with Lumbering Falls and Wandering Fumaroles. I'm running a playset of Lumbering Falls and 2 Wandering Fumaroles. The Hour of Promise can go grab those. They come into play tapped anyway. It's probably just as good as getting the desert strategy at that point, as 2 black zombie creature tokens might not be as good as like a Lumbering Falls and a Wandering Fumarole with a Sylvan Advocate giving them a little bit of a boost. We're going to run Matter Reshaper just as a way to clog the board, because Matter Reshaper at this point is pretty good with the amount of ways to with the Oasis. The ways to generate the colorless mana is quite easy. So we have 4 Shrine of the Forsaken Gods, a Scavenger Grounds, and 4 of the Oases. So it should be with 9 sources. Then we even have the Hedron Archives and the Weaver of Currents as other ways to get the colorless mana. It should be quite acceptable to have a Matter Reshaper, even if it have to just come out late. But the Matter Reshaper is exactly what I like in a 3-drop. It's aggressive, and if they kill it, it will either ramp us or it could put another card directly on the battlefield, like another Reshaper, a Tireless Tracker, or a Weaver. So it's going to do everything we want it to in this deck. Tireless Tracker is, since we are running Nissa's Renewal, Hour of Promise, it is going to get a lot of clues, allows us to use the excess mana that I'm sure that we're going to generate with the Shrine of the Forsaken Gods later on. And the Tireless Tracker can also be, if it isn't answered, can also be a very formidable threat. The Weaver of Currents is just going to be for ramp, as it's the best ramp spell or ramp creature at the moment. At 3, it works perfect for Hour of Promise, so you can go 3 into 5, and then into, if we hit a land drop on the next turn with the 2 shrines, we can easily get the Ulamog out. Chandra is going to be our board wipe of choice. We do have a Kozilek's Return in the sideboard, 4 of them. I'm not going to run anything else because I think we do a good job of clogging up the board, and we have more sideboard hate for those very aggressive decks. So we talked about Hedron Archive, but there's also Oblivion Sower. I did like Oblivion Sower because it curves well with both the Hedron Archive and the Weaver of Currents. As if you go turn 3 Weaver of Currents, turn 4 drop a land, you can get an Oblivion Sower. So I'm just testing this card out. It used to be really, really good when the format was more of a mid-range format, and I think we've gone back to that. So I want to test it. If it ends up being not a good card, then of course you can cut it for Sweltering Suns or Kozilek's Returns main. Again, we have to see where we lose, and that's when we'll make the changes to the deck. But I think Chandra is the perfect card as well, because in this deck, it pairs very nicely with our other aggressive creatures, as we can immediately get 2 3/1 elemental creature tokens. So against maybe those decks where we need to push out the damage, this is a 6 mana spell that can do 6 damage. It can help us also discard cards out of our hand to dig for those Ulamogs later on. And of course, it's great to deal X damage to each creature. I really like it in this particular deck because you can do that for just 1 and wipe away a lot of the cards from the Monument deck. So if they are running a lot of tokens you need to deal with, you can easily do that, or the 3 will kill basically everything in the deck. It will take care of the Cloud Blazers, the Spell Quellers, all the way down to the Bygone Bishops and the Militia Captains. But I mean, it is so versatile. You can even do it up to 4 damage to each creature if you want to kill your Chandra. And again, it just seems to be the perfect card in this deck. Curves with Weaver of Currents if we have the right mana. Curves with the Hedron Archive, same thing if we have the red sources out. But does a very good job with the Hour of Promise, because Hour of Promise we can usually just go get 2 deserts and then cast a Chandra. And then Kozilek, we're going to try it out to see if Kozilek's worthwhile. Again, it should be no problem hard casting Kozilek in this deck. I think with the Marvel decks, that's why they did end up not liking Kozilek, is because it was tough to hard cast. And in this deck, with the amount of colorless sources, it can be very easy to do so. And a 1 of World Breaker. So World Breaker is going to be kind of our flex removal spell for any problematic artifact, enchantment, or land. Sideboard, we're going to add 2 more Tireless Trackers. So basically, Sideboard is going to run a package of the Nissas and Tireless Trackers to come in versus the creatureless decks, where we need to maybe fight that mid-range battle. Nissa seems really good in this deck because it triggers off the Matter Reshaper, Sylvan Advocates, Weavers, and Tireless Tracker. This might end up going down it just also against like Torrential Gearhook decks, or a lot of these slower control-based decks. Nissa's very, very tough to deal with. It synergizes great with Sylvan Advocate, and I always wanted to test that, because if you have Sylvan Advocate out and you want to tap 2 lands, they become 7/7s and with flying and haste. And then if you have like a Lumbering Falls, that ends up being a 6/6 or a 5/5 with the Tireless Tracker. And even swinging with the 4/5 Tireless Tracker, you can see that can be easily lethal right there. And so Nissa can come out of nowhere in this deck, because all you have to do is cast this for 8, which is very feasible off of an Hour of Promise right there. And that could be a win con with a Sylvan Advocate. And I'm sure we can catch some people off guard. We're also going to run a Nissa Vital Force, as it does do a good job fighting those grindy matchups. You can untap a land, swing in with it, or you can return a permanent back from your graveyard. So like a Chandra went to the graveyard can bring it back. And it also has this really good emblem: whenever a land enters the battlefield, draw a card. I don't know if Nissa is the right slot here either. We're testing it out. Jace could go here. We are low on blue. The only thing we're using the blue for is the Weaver of Currents. We don't have a lot of sources with Weaver. We do have just a 1 of Desert, a 1 of Island, and 4 Lumbering Falls, and then 2 Wandering Fumaroles. So I think it's worthwhile for the Weaver, but Weaver, we might need to end up adding more blue. And if that's the case, we can go into some more of the like Jace or another blue spell. There could be different ways to build this deck as well. You could go the take extra turn route with the Awaken card. So the other card in our sideboard that I want to talk about is Struggle to Survive. There's a mill deck going around, and Struggle to Survive just beats that deck because they mill it and then you can aftermath it. So they have to run away. They usually are running the Scavenger Grounds in the particular mill deck that's out at the moment. But I mean, this does give us Struggle to Survive does give us a way to aftermath and shuffle our library back into our graveyard. So you can use Commit to Memory for this slot as well, but I think Struggle's a little more versatile. So that's basically this is the I think I talked about Jaddi Offshoot. Jaddi Offshoot's going to be coming in versus the burn decks, as it's going to gain a ton of life, especially off of like a Nissa's Renewal, or even an Hour of Promise is gaining 2 life. So we'll have to see how well this deck does. We'll go ahead and queue it up, and yeah, I'm expecting it to do quite well, though. It's going to have game versus basically every deck in the format. We'll have the matchups in the description as well as in the comment section, so you can follow along. So this seems like a pretty acceptable hand. We have the source for the Weaver. This could hit a Chandra on time. We are missing a source, though, but it could hit the Nissa's Renewal, so I'm going to keep it. And yeah, it definitely does seem to have a lot of action here. There's Oblivion Sower, that makes it better. So we'll go the Wandering Fumarole. We also have the Desert of the Indomitable we can put into play the next turn, and then a Weaver. So it's going to be a Traverse the Ulvenwald. Not a clue what this is going to be, but we will find out. So let's just go Desert into play tapped. Pass the turn. And now we have an Oblivion Sower too. So we're actually looking good here with the Oasis. Oasis is so flexible. A lot of times you don't need to pay the mana or pay the life. You never know when this is going to come in handy as well to sack it too. Like I said, we can turn the tables quite easily with this deck. So most likely this Weaver will die to removal. So yep, we'll just put out an Oasis. But if my opponent decides not to... Oh, we can't actually cast the Weaver. Yes, we can. Why was I thinking I couldn't? Okay, so, yep. Weaver can come out. We can't cast the Chandra at the moment. But the Oblivion Sower is going to be nice. Yeah, I pretty much assumed it would die. And my opponent will cycle the Dissenter's Deliverance. So, a lot of Artifact hate here. And this is a Thought-Knot Seer out of nowhere. And it's going to take the Oblivion Sower, I'm assuming. So this is going to be tough. We do have a ways that we can... I mean, Thought-Knot Seer is not going to kill us outright. So maybe like Glorybringer Thought-Knot Seer is in here. And it's kind of just like a green-red mid-range control type. And it does take the Oblivion Sower, yeah. Because Chandra is not a threat at the moment. So we're going to go... just another Oasis. And that puts us at enough lands for the 2/2 zombies. Yeah, Glorybringer would be tough if it was a Glorybringer. So a Shrine. So this looks like another green-red ramp type deck. There's a Desert of the Fervent, which I wanted. We do have two though. So, because I am going to go get it with Hour of Promise. So we'll go Shrine here. And now we can go the Hour of Promise. Funny that first match ends up being another ramp type deck. So here we'll go get, we need one more desert. No, we don't. We don't even need any more desert. So I'm just going to go get, I don't need shrines either. I'm just going to get 2 Lumbering Falls, I believe. Because 1, 2, 3 deserts. Oops, I should have got a red source. No, I have a desert, but yeah, I definitely should have got a red source there. That was my bad. Wandering Fumarole there to cast the Chandra. But we have the 2 zombies. I have a Nissa's Renewal. Actually, next turn we can hit if we want to go that route. Probably is better than a Chandra. She's going to use an Abrade and possibly another one. We're going to take some damage here for sure. Yeah, it's going to be Nissa's Renewal next turn. Traverse still does not have Delirium. And we'll take the damage. And there's a Sylvan Advocate. Wow, that is actually going to be really, really good. The Shrine can come out. I think we'll just Nissa's Renewal. So I messed up with the Chandra, but we'll Nissa's Renewal here. So 4, 5, 6. Whoops, that only goes, yeah, that only goes to colorless spells. Maybe I should read cards here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 for Nissa's Renewal. Here we'll go get a Mountain. Mountain. Do we need another green source? I think we need another. We're okay on blue, so let's not take a mountain. Let's just take 1 mountain, island, and a forest. And now we can put out a Sylvan Advocate. And then attacking with the zombie. We should be in really good shape. Of course, we need to draw into an Ulamog or a Kozilek. And even next turn, we can activate double Lumbering Falls and even swing in for close to lethal. Chandra. Chandra is not going to be a threat. Decides to discard cards. All right, yeah, we are in really, really good shape here. Hedron Archive's not what I wanted, so I'm trying to figure out. So if we activate both Lumbering Falls, those are swinging for 5/5/4, 5/5/4. Or is it just better to go Chandra? So Hedron Archive's fine just to use here, because it's the same netting up here. Chandra can kill. So if we were to go Chandra, we could still activate one Lumbering Fall. So I think that's better. And my opponent's just going to scoop it up here. So we're going to activate the Lumbering Falls, attack him, attack Chandra at the zombies. So my opponent will at least take a bunch of damage. The Chandra will be out of control, and then the next one will. Yeah. So I'm going to take out the Weavers here. Struggle's actually not bad. I think we want to go... I don't want to just... I think Weavers are just too much of a liability. I'd rather just go Tireless Trackers and the Nissas. And at this point, I mean, Oblivion Sower is great. World Breaker is amazing in this one. Maybe we don't need all... Actually, the Nissas seem really, really powerful. Maybe we don't need... I could probably cut a land, to be honest, in this one. Or maybe we don't need the Tireless Trackers as high. They just do die to a Braid. But, I mean, the Nissa... Yeah, I think it's just the... Maybe just go one of each Nissa. Even though I think that this Nissa is very powerful in this matchup, because we're ramping up and then we can run it out. So I think just the one Tireless Tracker would probably be the weak link. Or even Chandra Flamecaller in this one might. Other than it's tough to deal with the Chandra Flamecaller. But that actually might be the right call. Yeah, this Nissa is probably not the right one either. So I'm just going to cut one Chandra. The Weavers just don't seem good in this matchup with my opponent. Probably keeping in the removal. So yeah, Tireless Trackers are going to be a liability, but at least the Tireless Tracker is going to get more value. Immediate value a lot of time. Where the Weaver will just die. So this is... Ooh, this was probably acceptable. Double Matter Reshapers on the draw. So we have 24 lands we can draw into. And 2 draws to do so. So statistically speaking, we should hit the land. We also have Sylvan Advocates that are something we can draw into. Ulamog's not what we wanted to draw into. Actually, I had 3 draws to do so. But Thought-Knot Seer is something we can easily run in this deck as well. I decided against it. I don't know if that's smart because I think it works with the Nissa quite well. At least this is some action. with the Sylvan Advocate. If we get stuck on land, that kind of sucks, because like I said, at 3 draws, we definitely should. Statistically speaking, we should have because we're a little under 50% per draw. And our opponent's running Beneath the Sand. I had this in early ones, and I also had the Spring to Mind. And then I decided against it. And we do hit the land. Okay, so we have options here. We have Tireless Tracker, Matter Reshaper. I think I'm going to go Matter Reshaper. Because Tireless Tracker, if we hit a land next turn, we can play it and attack. Or, excuse me, play the Tireless Tracker and then play the land. And it gets more value that way. But we're kind of slow here. We'd love to hit a land next turn because I probably will Hedron Archive. It's all about who's going to get Ulamog out first. We're both running Ulamogs. And there's the Our Promise. Goes and gets 2 shrines, so I'm assuming we are going to die to Ulamog. So possibly I do need to keep in, and unfortunately we missed. So maybe Weaver does need to stay in, and Matter Reshaper can come out. Not quite sure. Because I'm pretty certain we're dying to Ulamog. So 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Just a thought knot. Worst things could happen here. Another Beneath the Sand. So there's the last one for the Ulamog. And our opponent got rid of a Hedron Archive. That was actually pretty smart. There's a Lumbering Falls. So here we'll play the Tireless Tracker. Undump out the Lumbering Falls. And I am going to attack with both Matter Reshapers. Because we do need to hit. It did put it on the battlefield. That's good. See if Ulamog is going to come join the party. Now, can I beat an Ulamog? And I had Sanctum of Mugens in the deck at one point, and then I got rid of them because it just didn't seem necessary. Got rid of both my Lumbering Falls, huh? Is there any way we come out of this? I think I have to attack him with everything. But the Ulamog's gonna be tough to beat. See if another Ulamog comes down. Looks like another Ulamog is. Or a World Breaker. Okay. Don't know why am I putting an attack first. Seems like a waste. But that was enough to do it. We'll go on to the sideboard. I think I do need my Weavers over the Tireless Trackers. And that's fine. I could bring in Struggle to Survive just to kill off Ulamogs. Or Thought-Knot Seers. But we'll submit this. Like I said, very similar decks. We're both trying to ramp out as quickly as possible. Oh, this is so risky. Shrine, Shrine, Island, Weaver. I think I have to ship it. This is kind of a mulligan anyway. And this one's a little better, but again, we need... I can't do a Weaver, so I'm going to put it on bottom because we're missing the other mana. But we do have double Hedron Archive and an Oblivion Sower. Kind of awkward. There's the Wandering Fumarole. Now I'm wishing I would have kept it on top other than... Yeah. So slow here. We don't even get to race out the Thought-Knot Seer is the problem. There's a Nissa on one. At least that gives us something to do. Bottom? Yeah, I should put it on top because this puts it puts into play. All right, Beneath the Sands. Another shrine. Hedron Archive. We're going to scry 2 again. And I'm going to bottom both of these as well. Hopefully we don't get hit by a Thought-Knot Seer next turn. Chandra. Okay, I can definitely accept a Chandra. Gonna go another Beneath the Sands. Oh, Dissenter's Deliverance. Yeah, that actually does hit. And we don't quite get the... All right. We're going to YOLO the Nissa. And it was a Nissa. Jeez. Oh, that was pretty bad. Limmering Falls doesn't kill anything either. And Nissa doesn't scry up either, so thought now would be really rough here. Chandra, Torch of Defiance. This is another card I thought about using. And there's the Hour of Promise. Which does get the 2 zombies. And a Thought-Knot. Yep. Ouch. That was brutal. So Thought-Knot's really good in the mirror for sure. Another Nissa. This is just gross. I think I have to scry here. Geez, put them both on bottom. I guess no, yeah, I couldn't really do anything there. So we've gone through a lot of our decks and haven't seen an Ulamog. Seen all of the Nissas. No, because we knew that was on top. Because it just looks to the top, it doesn't get rid of it. That's the problem with... Yeah, so I think this one we've lost. Kind of awkward mulligan, awkward draws. That Thought-Knot was brutal because the Oblivion Sower would have hit something there. I'm thinking we're gonna get Ulamogged here. Shrine of Forsaken Gods goes to the Exile Zone. 2, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 with Ulamog in hand. There's a tracker. Decides not to attack in. There's an Oasis. Which doesn't do a lot for us. Puts us up to that. We're going to go ahead and put a Matter Reshaper on the battlefield. At least that's better than nothing. I think we do need to sacrifice the archive to draw 2 because we're in Ulamog range anyway. Unfortunately, we can't cast the Nissa's Renewal. And the Chandra ult is going to try to run that to victory. And most likely kill the Nissa here. Corrupted Graphstone. And another Tireless Tracker. What we need to hit is a Chandra off the top. Other than I don't have the red source, so maybe not. That's probably not the right. Didn't attack with Thought-Knots here. I don't know why. Doesn't want me drawing cards. Ulamog would be okay off the top too, because we could kill both Tireless Trackers. Haven't seen an Ulamog, and that is, once again, not a good card to draw into. These Tireless Trackers are just going to get out of control. Neither one of us has found an Ulamog in 20 cards. Yeah, Chandra could actually win me this game. Another hour. See, another hour's promise is fine. That does kill the Sylvan Advocate. Gives a lot of clues, though. And more zombies. So actually, this Tireless Tracker is out of range now. Ulamog's actually quite bad at the moment. And a Traverse, which is going to give even more clues. Gets us a Sylvan Advocate out of the way. Still have not found something with Nissa. And we actually won next turn, though. No, my opponent can crack a bunch of clues. We could win next turn, though. We actually could pull this off. Because Nissa is lethal with the Sylvan Advocate. And he spent his red mana. What can my opponent... He needs a Corrupted Graphstone. Awesome. Okay, we pulled this off. Wow. Because we do exactly 14. And we draw into an Ulamog, but it doesn't matter. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Just spend it all. And that's 14 exactly. Kaboom! Ha! Yeah, Nissa's great in this deck. I thought there was no way, no how we won that. And then Nissa does it. Crazy. We'll go on to match number 2. Okay, so match 2. We're going to play first. We have a very decent hand opener. 3 lands, Matter Reshaper. We can cast everything. So we'll lead off with the Wandering Fumarole. And then pass a turn. So yeah, I actually think that you can even go a Reality Smasher / Thought-Knot Seer route with this deck in the sideboard and just turn into an all-out just aggressive creature deck. Nissa works really well with both Reality Smashers and Thought-Knot Seers. We're actually going to go the Oasis here. Get out of threat against the Wandering Fumarole, most likely a Torrential Gearhulk deck. There's a Nissa's Renewal. That'll be nice. Let's go ahead and throw an island. Attack in with the Sylvan Advocate. No Abrade, huh? And allow my opponent to cast a Censor, if there is a Censor. Lo and behold, there's an Essence Scatter. So this is most likely going to be Torrential Gearhulk. Need to just keep hitting land drops. There's a Kozilek. It'll be good versus this match for sure. And I'm sure they're going to cycle away a Censor or the Counterspell Anticipate. Yep, there's a Hieroglyphic Illuminations. And I'm going to Harness Lightning my Sylvan Advocate, sure. So this is starting to... I had a Sphinx of the Final Word in this deck too. The sideboard. It's definitely a decent option. All right, we need one more. Unfortunately, Glimmer is probably going to come down here. And the card advantage will start. But if this Oblivion Sower hits some nice lands where we are... Hopefully it hits like an Aether Hub. No, we do need another source. So if we hit like an Aether Hub with the Oblivion Sower, let's assume we draw into a land, of course, but... Because it's a cast trigger. Well, it was a land. And I think we can just safely go Wandering Fumarole. There's nothing that my opponent can do to stop the... You can't activate a... Yeah, I mean, Lumbering Falls. Right? There's nothing for 4 mana. Now Glimmer coming down. Oblivion Sower is great too. If my opponent does like Essence Scatter it and has a Torrential Gearhulk, that's acceptable, but we still get the activation off of it. Yep, there is the 6 cards for the Torrential Gearhulk. Another Forest, so we'll play it. And this should be a messy card regardless. Yes, Torrential Gearhulk can be played. But again, if this gets an Aether Hub, we've got the Kozilek's Great Distortion. And that just might start getting too much card advantage. Yeah, we expected a Torrential Gearhulk, but it's going to just get a Essence Scatter, and this still got value. So let's hope to hit some juicy lands. My opponent hasn't hit a land in a while. And sometimes you get unlucky. Harness Lightning, Torrential Gearhulk, Sensor, Essence Scatter. I think there's no way around this. We got to try for a Nissa's Renewal. Can't censor it. Supreme Will. Has another Glimmer. Another Hieroglyphic. Okay. Now I think we're pretty much locked out. Another Mountain. We'll attempt to go the Tireless Tracker. My opponent can actually do 9 damage next turn. Well, that does hit. Got all the Harness Lightnings out of the way. It's a Magma Spray. Jeez. But I don't see us getting out of this Torrential Gearhulk shenanigans, especially another Torrential Gearhulk comes down. It's just a Supreme Will. So we're definitely bringing in the Planeswalkers for this next one. Most likely not even going to go... Yeah, I'm not going to give a lot of targets for that Magma Spray. So I think I'll take out the Weavers. This is where Thought-Knot Seer would be amazing. Alright, just going to attack in with the Torrential Gearhulk Shore. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. What we need to do is draw a Shrine off this clue. That's not a Shrine. Still can't even cast the Crazy. We have a lot of ways to. Yeah, I don't see this Weaver sticking, but it's better than nothing. Sure, there'll be another Magma Spray. Yep. And that should be lethal if my opponent just activates. Geez, so many Glimmers, and this one is a heavy, heavy version of Illuminations and Glimmer. 4 of each in this Torrential Gearhulk deck. So Thought-Knot Seers have been great. Another Aether Hub. And it's my opponent's match to lose here, because an Ulamog actually just gets us out of this. I still have yet, yeah, out of all the games so far we've played, we've only seen one Ulamog in the Mulligan, I believe. So this deck does not like to draw Ulamogs. Okay, so we are alive. Oh, disallow. Yep, okay. A disallow was also in my opponent's hand. Huh. So I think we do need to take out the things that die to Magma Spray. So even like Matter Reshapers. This is... I hate doing this. Oh no, Struggle Survive is actually good in this one. That doesn't really do much to the Torrential Gearhulks. So I think Weavers are a little more powerful than Matter Reshaper. Magma Spray, I think, just kills this, and it's too... I don't know. We'll submit this. Yeah, Thought-Knot Seers and Reality Smashers in the side are pretty good against a deck like this. Prowling Serpopard could also be in there. Fortunately, we have to ship this one back. It has no green sources in it. And we're a ways away from doing anything. This one's also really awkward. But I think we end up keeping it. So maybe we do need some earlier ramp spells, like the Cycling card. I don't know, there's just not a lot of room in the deck for what I want it to do. But in all honesty, that might be the route we have to go. Because the Weavers are just very, very awkward. See, it makes me want to play Reality Smashers too, because we go turn 3 Weaver into turn 4 Reality Smasher. At least it's an even game. And Ulamog unfortunately has to go to the bottom. Even in this Elder Deep Fiend era too, I'm assuming Thought-Knot Seers are pretty good. Even Glorybringer seems like a decent card to put in the sideboard. I don't know. We'll test it out. We'll keep messing around with cards. We do need to keep hitting land drops. Unfortunately, we need to get up to 5, and it's gonna be tough to race out those sensors. There's a card we did not want to see. Yeah, Weavers might be the weak link in this deck. I think that will be the change. There's 2 vulnerable. Unfortunately, this can happen. We're still a long ways away from either anything in our hand being cast, so. Now we hit that land, so now we're... And there's the starting the glimmer nonsense. So Sphinx of the Final Word possibly in the sideboard, possibly Thought-Knot Seers, Reality Smashers. I don't think we need Reality Smashers. Just they seem really good with the other Nissa. Another Hour of Promise we can't cast. Sigh. Because the other ramp cards, yeah, the Cycling ramp card is probably the route to go. Spring to Mind seems interesting because it's something we can use later on to draw cards. So I wonder if a 2-mana Cycling spell or a 2-mana... that also has instant speed, I believe. Yeah, I can't remember if that one's an instant speed card or not. I know we do have one instant speed ramp spell. But here I know for a fact we've just got locked out with counter spells, so best case scenario we can just keep hitting land drops for now until because if we do happen to hit Hour of Devastation, huh? Well, I mean, there's a land drop, so we will go for the Hour of Promise, and 100% guarantee this is getting countered. Unless we're very lucky. Just a censor. And the Supreme Will is going to go grab a Torrential Gearhulk. That was a very quick grab of the Torrential Gearhulk. We are hitting lands. But here comes a... Oh, wow. Could that hit? That is amazing that it does hit, because that's actually a pretty good... And we have the desert, so we can just go get Lumbering Falls here. Because we have desert, 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 desert. Yeah. So falls and falls. And gives us our 2 zombies. Pretty amazing. I mean, Magnus Spray, Magnus Spray. Guarantee on the zombies here. Because my opponent kept in. Yeah, Harness Lightning. Wow. Been very lucky. What does my opponent have in hand? Gotta just have like a handful of red removal spells that are just pointless. Because we are going to go for the Nissa's Renewal. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We're so close to these Ulamogs. Yeah, this is actually better. Because we can pay for the Supreme Will. And that one also hits, so we're going to go grab 2 more Lumbering Falls. Do we need a red source for the Fumarole? No, Falls is probably better. And we're in very good shape now. Not going to attack a zombie, it's pointless. And see if my opponent goes for a Torrential Gearhulk. We have the Kozilek, and the Kozilek can get the late game going for us. Hit another land here. I don't know if I want to keep those in hand. Go ahead and attack in with these zombies. Harness Lightning, okay. See if you Torrential Gearhulk's Harness Lightning. That would be the best case scenario. Can't quite cast Nissa Vital Force, so we'll go ahead and Nissa's Renewal. Whoops. We can keep back a Lumbering Falls, actually. And I guess we can go Vital Force. I think, whoops, we probably should have tapped our lands correctly. My opponent wants to censor this. It's fine. Because we might as well just unload our hand here. Because Kozilek's going to redraw. So a censor could work here. Torrential Gearhulk, censor. Disallow. Yep. Awesome. So no Torrential Gearhulks. We've been extremely lucky this game. No Ulamog to this point. And the censor is actually quite strong because, or the disallow is quite strong because it gets rid of Kozilek. So censor's coming down. I think I can't do double Chandra, which is crazy. We don't have the mana for it. I could go another Hour of Promise. I think that's actually a pretty strong play. Going with the zombies. And we do have lands we can grab with Hour of Promise. I actually would rather go with Chandra here. So I should have done it beforehand, actually. And do another Hour of Promise. And at this point, I think we still just get Wandering Fumaroles. I could go grab a desert, get rid of my opponent's graveyard. Yeah, we'll get a Scavenger Ground because we can actually start sacking some. And might as well create some Chandra. I think my opponent probably has an Hour of Devastation. So it'll force out an Hour of Devastation this turn, though. Jeez, it likes us drawing these Chandras. That one hits. We're going to go for lethal here. Has to use a Harness Lightning on an elemental token. Yeah, that feels pretty bad. So my opponent did have a handful of removal, so we were right. And now I believe an Hour of Devastation doesn't do anything. I think my opponent just dies here no matter what. We can activate so many lands. Yeah, Glimmer's not going to do it. this point, just wasting time. And there's the concession. Okay, so yeah, I do want the Sphinx in the sideboard, absolutely. So I think we're in a league, so we can't change the deck list up, but the Sphinx is something that would really, really punish the Torrential Gearhulk deck. Sphinx is the final word. And maybe we don't need as many Jaddi Offshoots as I thought against like the burn deck. Maybe just even bring in like 2 of them, because we do a good job clogging up the board, and I don't see changing it. And then Weavers would definitely be cut. For just the 3-mana ramp is probably better. I mean, it was the whole going into Weaver into the... I still do think that Weaver's good in this match. I don't think we bring in Matter Reshapers. My opponent could have just cut everything, all the Magma Sprays. Sylvan Advocate still seems good, though, because we can get it out later on, and it can pump up the cards. World Breaker's fine. Matter Reshaper's fine. Tireless Tracker. I just think Tireless Tracker's too weak in this one. Yeah, I have a feeling my opponent cut the Magma Sprays. Didn't see a Tireless Tracker on my end. Probably assumed I cut them. Risky hand. We're going to keep it, though. Double Hedron Archive. We have the mana sources that we need. We did not hit a land there, though, so... But we do hit one there. We have 2 turns to draw a land. Matter Reshaper is a card we can't cast at the moment. So Tireless Tracker, of course, would have been better there. Weaver, though, see, Weaver's awkward in this deck, too. The sources are just off, even though we are running just 2 mountains. Yeah, I have a feeling we're going to get stuck. Well, maybe not. I don't want to run into a Censor. Let's just go Matter Reshaper. See if an Essence Scatter comes down. Glimmer. Okay, so that does hit. I'm wishing the Hedron Archive. Other than that, I do believe there would be a Censor in hand or something that along those lines. So we do have a nice aggression going right now for us with the Sylvan Advocate and the Matter Reshaper. Too bad that didn't come out last turn. Aether Hub. Love to hit a land here, of course. Ulamog is fine. Harness Lightning on the Sylvan Advocate. This should be countered, 100%. Really? Okay. It hits. And cycle a Censor, cycle a... or just a Supreme Will. So my opponent would rather have me have a Hedron Archive. So we are in Torrential Gearhulk range. But we are getting an Ulamog range just by hitting lands. No desert, so I don't think we're going to go Hour of Promise. This will get countered. What? If we hit a land next turn, we have Ulamog. And if this is a Torrential Gearhook, it's a Torrential Gearhook that can't. No, just another Glimmer. We are getting very lucky in this Torrential Gearhook namesake deck, not drawing them. We're still one land away, though. We absolutely will cast an Ulamog. And we do have action no matter what, so... A little light on the green sources. I don't think my opponent wants to counter this. We get 2 deserts. Is it worthwhile to get 2 deserts? What do we need? We need green sources, so grab this one and this one. And this game's all but over. I don't know how we lose it with Ulamog and Kozilek in hand. Yeah, very, very awkward. Should have countered one of those. I don't... Oh, there must... Or there's no counter in hand. That's what it is. No disallow. Thing is, Ulamog can get disallowed and countered here. But my opponent really can't attack in at this point with Torrential Gearhook because we have Lumbering Falls and Wandering Fumarole. Eight cards, though. I mean, the Torrential Gearhook deck is very, very solid at drawing cards. But one of its weaknesses is this guy right here, the Ulamog. And Kozilek, same difference here. Kozilek can be really tough. Even at this point, too, we have a Nissa that's a incredibly... Has to discard a card, too. Yeah, there goes the card advantage. So my opponent has to discard a card. And speak of the devil... We're actually going to get rid of 2 lands. So here's the disallow. Okay, Summary's Dismissal. And that does work. We have a pretty solid Supreme Will. A pretty solid game plan still. A lot of very high impact cards left in our hand. We have Hedron Archives that can be cycled later on. So I think I'm just going to go Hour of Promise. Negate. And now this allows for a decently sized Nissa here. We'll keep one open for a censor. Here comes the other Torrential Gearhulk for a negate. Gets that out of the way. All right, so we are in trouble here, though. The Summer's Dismissal was very, very powerful. And we'll make him use a spell. He has one. No. Torrential Gearhulk just dies. Ramp 2 lands out of this. Crazy, because now we can actually go the Oasis on a Lumbering Falls and swing in for lethal. I think what we're going to do, though, is run out Chandra. Or we could just go Kozilek, and there has to be another Summer's Dismissal. Can we, we don't have 16 mana though, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, not even close. So I think we do just run out Kozilek. See if the other Torrential Gearhulk's in hand. And it is. Womp womp. I should have tapped my Hedron Archive. No, because But we have some really good top decks. I don't know if my opponent can really attack in with too many of the... Oops, didn't play my Fumarole. I think that's going to come back and bite me. Going to go in with both. So you have the 4th Torrential Gearhulk in hand? So we lose to Summer's Dismissal. As I'm not sure I can block enough. Chandra's Defeat is in my opponent's hand, huh? A Chandra's Defeat. Ugh, tough. Close game, though. So here's a Censor, or Disallow. Yeah, that's game. All right. So close. Possibly could have played that differently to bait out. I don't think so, though. I think that we played the best we could. Ulamog next turn. That would have been very, very good. But it is what it is. I think we definitely need the Sphinx. Making things uncounterable. At least instants or sorceries. Putting out a threat that's tough to deal with is probably what this deck wants. Yeah, so there's definitely some upgrades. We'll go on to the next match. Okay, match number 3. We have a pretty decent hand. Yeah, this is fine. Got the Weaver. And now our Tireless Tracker. So we'll start off with the Lumbering Falls. Sylvan Advocate most likely won't come out on turn 2. I think we want this Wandering Fumarole, unless we draw a land next turn, because I want this Weaver. And it's going to be a white, some sort of white deck. So now maybe we do want the Sylvan Advocate. This is +3/+1 when he exerts it though, so probably not actually. So the Fumarole is just going to come out. Yeah, Weaver is a must. We need the ramp from it. But this will be a match where we'll actually bring in the Kozilek's Returns. Going to be white Eldrazi's? Maybe Eldrazi Displacer in here with the Shefet Dunes. Just Matter Reshapers could be. I mean, this opens it back up to all the Eldrazi's. So, oh wow, yep. So a Lone Rider comes out. That's going to be tough for us to deal with. We do have a Forest for the Weaver. Which allows, at least for a Tireless Tracker, we're taking a lot of damage here, taking 4 damage. I wonder if this is some sort of Odric deck with Reality Smashers for the Trample Haste. That's what I'm assuming, just based upon the cards that we see. So I wouldn't be surprised to see Odric come down. Yeah, this is an Odric deck, hands down. We draw into a red source here. We're actually in good shape. Wipe, and Reshaper is pretty decent too. We get to go Tireless Tracker and get a Matter Reshaper. But 100% Odric deck. First Strike, Trample, Lifelink, Flying. Sure, Ceaseless in here as well. So we'll Shrine. And go for a Matter Reshaper, which might not end up doing anything, but I wonder if Cascade or the Indestructible Land is going to be in here as well. There's the other Lone Rider. They're still in really, really good shape. Other than this, the Harvester makes it awkward. And exert the Glorybringer, so we're actually going to double block. No, I think we just block on the Glorybringer, as we're going to take 7. Double blocking the Glorybringer I don't think does anything. We can actually block with the Tireless Tracker to take less. Next turn, I think we have to. We need a red source. Onto the battlefield. Yep, a red source just basically wins us this. There's not a lot of red sources though, and it comes into play tapped, unfortunately. We're 1 off with this Matter Reshaper. Can I stop enough with a Sylvan Advocate here? I mean, that's 5 damage just from the flyers. I don't think we can, and there's no way. So 1, 2. Yeah, that's... If we crack a clue, we still can't get above where we need to be. So my only hope is if I attack him with this Matter Reshaper, and for whatever reason my opponent blocks. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yep, that's the only way, and then we hit a red source off of it. Otherwise, yep, that is game. Oh, so Kozilek's returns will be very good in this one, though. So one card off from this actually happening, because if the Matter Reshaper died, throwing in a Wandering Fumarole instead of another Matter Reshaper, then we have the Chandra and a board wipe. So I think that Struggle to Survive is okay in here. Jaddi Offshoot is probably... Actually, even though this deck is aggressive, I don't know if we care. I think it's just Kozilek's return. And we don't... Weavers are actually really good in this. We don't need the Tireless Trackers. The Weavers are still fine. I don't think we need Oblivion Sowers. Kozilek, the Great Distortion, also is quite weak. So possibly I could bring in Jaddi Offshoots just to play a little bit of a blocker early on. Don't think we want to go too many. This should be a pretty decent matchup. Probably should bring in the Struggle. Oh well, yes, we'd like to play first. And it's keepable. Play the Desert and to play tapped. It's kind of awkward. Because the Weaver, we don't have the mana for the Weaver. But there shouldn't be a lot of dead draws here. Raven Inspector coming down. Yeah, that's fine. It's just kind of a card that doesn't do much. And that's going to be a nice card for us. We don't have to take a damage here. It's a Sylvan Advocate. See if Glorybound Initiate comes down here. Another Advocate, but we're going to go Reshaper. And we will make the block here. Should kill off the Sylvan Advocate. I'm sure a Lone Rider's coming down. And it's going to flip, and that's rough. But all the Magma Sprays and everything else running around, I don't think Lone Rider's actually playable. I've tried a deck like this and didn't even like it in Odric. I mean, it's good, though. It's working. And that was the perfect card to draw into, as it allows for double Sylvan Advocates. And as soon as we get 2 more lands, we can wipe the board. And this allows for a group block. No cast out. Could be a Stasis Snare. I just want this dead. Okay, we get the Stasis Snare out of the way. Take the damage. Go to a 13. Kozilek's return is actually pretty good after a block, because it first strikes one of the advocates down. But these weavers are super awkward. The blue sources, I don't think we're running quite enough. Ugh. Ugh. That was about as ugh as it got, because now we don't do enough damage with the Kozilek's return. Yeah, that's just lethal. Wow. That's always watching is going to do the job, because we double block here. We still... And there's nothing I can draw into. It only takes 2 damage, and we only do 2 damage. So that was the perfect card for my opponent to draw. Yeah, this matchup seems super easy to beat with the amount of board wipes. None of them came out on time. Luring Falls even came out awkward. Really awkward. We need a land next turn. A land next turn will actually give us bigger Sylvan Advocates. But I'm sure my opponent's going to have like a Stasis Snare now. And the first strike even on this, if it rides. Jeez. Or that. No, that doesn't matter. Oh, that allows for the Thraven Inspector. Yeah, so... There's no way I win this. It's the it that rides at 1 is actually going to kill me. Might as well double block, kill this thing off. And we hit a Matter Reshaper, which does actually keep us alive. But I don't know that it does anything, because we go down to a 1. It's got to be this 1-2 punch, Glorbound Initiate, and hit the Rise. And we couldn't draw this Kozilek's return on at a specific... I mean, have this in our opening hand and this game's over. It just doesn't... Could have another Stasis Snare that just wins the game too, or Cast Out. So Nissa's Renewal we have to hit here. And if my opponent just casts a creature, we are dead too. Crested Sunmore, we're super dead. And there's the mountain. Okay, like I said, I really feel this is a very easy matchup. But not when we can't draw. This card's garbage. We have to get rid of Weaver. It doesn't work in this particular deck. Go on to the next match. Alrighty, let's go to match number 4. See if we can get another game under our belt. And even this series out. This is a very, very awkward hand. I think that we keep it though. The Chandra I think going up and even Wandering Fumaroles might be okay. It's getting tough for us to hit those double red on time for Chandra, but I mean, it's all about the 3-mana ramp spells. I think they'll make this deck a lot more consistent rather than Weaver just dies to too many things right now. Braids, Harness Lightnings, Fatal Pushes, even Grasp of Darknesses, Magma Sprays, all that sort of stuff. Fortified Village for a Blister Pod, so we're going to have some sort of Abzan tokens or green-white tokens. Westvale Abbey type deck, I'm sure. So we need to get moving here. Kozilek is not a good draw. The more and more I play with Kozilek, the less I like him. He's probably good in certain matchups, but I think we need something that impacts the board immediately. And there's a Crypt of Light. So my opponent does have the really fast draw, and we have an insanely slow draw. And speaking of terrible draws, there is the third Chandra. So when it rains, it pours. And see, so you can see like a 3-mana ramp spell that could get us into this pretty good. So it is Abzan tokens. Anointed Processions will get very, very awkward here. At least that's something we can play. And we haven't seen the hidden stockpile quite yet either. So we're in pretty decent shape, I would assume. With Anointed Processions could come out here. There it is. And lead back the Blister Pod, which gets annoying. We have another Shrine, which puts us close to the Hour of Promise. I'm going to go ahead and crack it right now. And yes, we can actually cast the Sylvan Advocate. Okay, so we're in not too shabby shape here now with the mana for the Hour of Promise. Doesn't get us the desert, so I don't even know if we're going to go for that or not. So, and then this Anointed Procession could get scary, other than we have Chandras to deal with all that nonsense. Matter Reshaper is not what we want here. It is going to be just the Hour of Promise. And probably just go get a Wandering Fumarole and a Lumbering Falls. And still not going to attack in at the moment because it gives our opponent a lot of Crypto with right mana. And now we have Chandra galore. So no hidden stockpiles at the moment. That I don't know what that's about. Casting another Cryptolith right. Other than my opponent thinking that I'd have to go with Ulamog killing both of them. But it doesn't matter here. We're going to attack in with both. Get that Blister Pod out of the way. Which puts out a ton of tokens. So he gets the double. Yep, the 4. As it doubles, then doubles. So it goes 2 and then... so instead of 1, it goes 2. And then instead of 2, it goes 3. Okay. And now we put out Chandra here. And clear those tokens away. And now my opponent's got the very awkward draw of having the Cryptolith Right and the Anointed Procession, but no hidden stockpile. And there is the concession, as Chandra will just take over the game. We will bring in the Kozilek's Returns. Tireless Trackers are actually pretty decent in this one. Weavers are actually good in this one as well. I don't think I need Kozilek's. I don't think I need Nissa's Renewal. We'll keep it in, though. It does get us closer to what we need. We definitely don't need Matter Reshapers. So we could bring in Matter Reshaper. We could bring in Tireless Trackers for that, and that just allows us to... Or even Nissa. Nissa allows us to kind of go nuts here too. But I think Tireless Tracker will compromise. I'll put 1 and 1. Because you did see the power of Nissa. So, yeah. I wonder if this deck actually even wants more lands to begin with. Another Wandering Fumarole. Cut the Weavers, put another Wandering Fumarole, and put 3 mana ramp spells in here. I still think Spring to Mind is probably the right one. And I don't like this hand other than I think Kozilek's Return is really, really powerful. Thraben Inspector. Now we do have the Kozilek's Return mana, which my opponent does decide to go crazy with. So Transgress should take the Kozilek's Return. I don't think there's any reason to take anything but the Kozilek's Return here. Or the Hour of Promise. The thing is, I can draw into a lot of things that do the same thing as Hour of Promise. I'm not going to show that we drew another land, so let's go there. And with the Mulligan and the Transgress, my opponent actually has kind of a weaker hand to get going, if that makes sense. So now, these Weavers are so awkward. We'll go ahead and put out another Oasis. Yeah, I think this card has lost us every game. It's been in the hand. Hasn't really done anything worthwhile. Whereas again, the green ramp spell here could go grab us a blue source or a red source. Crack a clue. Play a land. Tack in for 4. No point to the Kozilek's Return quite yet. If it plays on a Thraben Inspector, I might. Yeah, we'll pass it up. And there's a Weaver, number 2. Wait, we have 2 or just one of the Cycling Deserts? Island, Cycling Desert. Yeah, possibly we're just too low on the Weavers to make the... And here I'm going to run it out. Able to make a Cleric. So here, I don't even know. Hedron Archive would be probably the best thing I could draw into. Tracker's okay, but still nothing to do with it. I'm actually going to not make this block. Comes the Anointed Processions. Frustration. So 27 lands is probably ideal. Throw in another, most likely just a basic, I would say. Still off. And that Westvale Abbey is going to be very, very tricky. We need to hit a land next turn. Absolutely have to hit a land next turn. Crypto Threat's lethal. I'm so sick of these Weavers. I think I'm just going to cut them in this match. They're so good, though. It ramps up. My opponent does not interact with me, so a card like Weaver is going to ramp very, very quickly. But I think I should leave in Tireless Trackers for this reason, too. Well, we hit the shrine, so... Nissa's Renewal is great. Only one card in my opponent's hand, too. I'm surprised the Westvale Abbey didn't go. Ulamog Mysteries. Doesn't have a Dream Stiller. This is very, very... I don't understand what my opponent's doing, except for just letting me win here. Because 1, 2, 3, 4... Oh, it does have 5. But Ulamog gets rid of it, so... And this is cool because it forces out. So we're not going to cast the Kozilek's Return. Does get a lot of clue tokens. So, I mean, my opponent does get to scry. We take care of two of the really good cards, though. And so far, all the cards have gone to the bottom. We also have a lot of clues, and we're actually better at utilizing our clues than our opponent is. And those soldiers are not going to be very relevant. And there's the scoop. So not bad. End up go 2-2 with the deck. Again, I think that we will edit this up a little bit, and then I think the Weavers, just the Weavers, switching those out is going to be enough. I don't know if we care about going into Thought-Knot Seers in the sideboard. This probably will. Yeah, I don't think there's room for them. But it's definitely an option. It's good versus certain matchups, but terrible versus others. Really, really good with the Nissa. So we'll have to wait and see. I'll keep playtesting it, see where Oblivion Sower most likely will come out. That could lead some slots for Thought-Knot Seer. Anyway, hope you enjoyed this. This has been Kevin with GatheringMagic.com. Thanks for watching.